Hey, greetings everyone. Glenn Kellaway from the basement. I am here to talk about a couple of new releases that I picked up, some other albums that I picked up, and just stuff I picked up. I'm pretty excited because I got some really cool stuff, I think. Very eclectic. So let's start with this. I think a lot of you are probably familiar with this album. Let me get it out of the thing here, some flare. If you're not, this came out in 1981. Friday Night in San Francisco, Al Di Meola, John McLaughlin, Paco de Lucia, three incredible guitar players, did a tour together in 1980, I believe it was. Friday Night in San Francisco was released in 1981. It is an all instrumental album. A couple of tracks where they play on their own, then they play together, and it's just like the playing is just incredible. And the audience reaction that you hear in this video, as much as when I listen to live albums, I don't really like when they include the audience too much. It's got to be really low for me. It drives me nuts. I find it distracting. But the ambiance created with the live audience, the performance, the sound quality of this CD, it is really, if you like acoustic guitar and you just like listening to great musicians, if you don't have this album or not aware of it, you need it. So it appears that for all these years, Al Di Meola's been sitting on the tapes from the Saturday night performance, and they decided to release them. Now, this isn't brand new. It's been out for a while, released in audiophile versions on vinyl and CD, and I had a chance to pick this up in an Amazon warehouse sale. This one's the Saturday night show. Now, I understand it's not the complete show. They've edited it and whatever they've done to it. But still, it's so good. This is an SACD, but it's also hybrid because, as you know, I just sold my SACD player. I can no longer play an SACD layer, but I can play a CD layer, and it sounds frigging incredible. This is fantastic. This sold for like 40, 50 bucks. It might have been 30 on Mobile Fidelity's. I think it's in Mobile Fidelity. No, it's not. It might have been 30, 40 US or something, but in Canada it was a $50 disc. I got it for $24. Couldn't resist it, and man, it is so good. So if you're looking for something cool, or if you have the first one, by all means get the second one. Live December 6, 1980 in San Francisco, Saturday Night in San Francisco. Fantastic. They also did studio albums too. Here's a studio album they did called I think it's just self-titled with their names on the Verb label. But yeah, they did another one called the Guitar Trio, I think, which I also have. Fantastic playing. Can't say enough about it. Next, while we're talking about kind of crazy music and stuff, I don't want to. Well, first of all, let's do something so I'm not turning you guys off. I've been into Supertramp a lot recently. I'm a big Supertramp fan, always have been. And it's funny, Supertramp really broke in Canada very quickly, more so in the States from what I know. In Toronto, we had a underground radio station back in the late 60s, and 1970 or so, Chum FM in Toronto, 104.5 was the coolest station in the world. They made an abrupt turn and became an ARO station, adult-oriented radio with all the syrupy crap. It was unlistenable. And then a new station started up to fill the void called Q107 in Toronto, became the rock station back in the 70s, and they played the crap out of Supertramp. That's all I remember. I didn't buy Supertramp albums. I could hear every frickin' song every 5 minutes on Q107. And so my favorite Supertramp album is Paris. I love the live album. I think it's got all the cool tracks on it, all well done, great sounding live album. Fantastic. I love it. I got it on vinyl. I got it on CD. I play it all the time. I have a couple of their albums on vinyl, like Crisis, What Crisis, and even In the Quietest Moments. I have pretty much everything on CD. The other day I went to play Crime of the Century, and I go, I don't have it. I didn't have Crime of the Century. That is the Crime of the Century, that I didn't have Crime of the Century. So I was in the CD store yesterday and went, I got to pick it up. Now this is a 2014 remaster. Probably not the best sound quality that one could imagine. I bet you it's probably got a lot of compression and whatever, but it sounds good to me. This album is so dynamic in terms of its listening experience and such a great classic record. I don't know why I didn't have it. It was weird. But anyway, I have it now. I paid $11 for it. Okay, new releases. Should we start with those? Okay, let's do. Let's save those. I'm saving them till the end. So everybody knows I'm a Bela Fleck freak, one of the great musicians on the planet. And about 12 years ago, I'm going to say, Bela did a tour with Zakir Hussain, one of the great percussionists of all time. Played with everybody. He's even played with George Harrison back in the Beatle days. He played with Ravi Shankar. He's just an incredible percussionist, had his own albums out. I mean, just a master musician, a master. Bela, Zakir Hussain, and a gentleman by the name of Edgar Meyer, who plays double bass, classically trained, written classical music, symphony orchestra music. He's just a genius. Anyway, the three of them did a tour, and I saw it 12 years ago. Freaking blew my head off. They were just to hear such virtuosity and see it up close is incredible. They're back together for another run. They released an album called As We Speak. Grabbed it as soon as I could get my hands on it. Just fantastic music. What I've done, if you go to my community page, I've linked a little show they did at the National Public Radio Tiny Stage performance. Check it out. Anyway, this is fantastic. Yesterday, I saw the CD on the shelf at the store, and I went, I got to have the CD too. So now I have both vinyl and CD. Incredible music, just incredible. And one other before I get to my new releases. Chris Thile, another. While we're talking about like a Bela Fleck, I would say the Bela Fleck of the mandolin is Chris Thile, who cut his teeth with Nickel Creek with Sarah and Sean Watkins, who are back together again touring as Nickel Creek. Did a few solo albums where he has, like, Chris is not afraid of touching any genre of music. He's jazz, classical, bluegrass, Americana. He's done it all. He's a master musician. He has a band called the Punch Brothers, and the Punch Brothers are made up of another bunch of great musicians. Chris Eldridge, the great Noam Pakilny on banjo, again another guy who has no fear of taking an instrument out of its natural habitat and creating different kinds of music. I guess with Chris on the road with Nickel Creek and whatever, the other guys decided to put a little band together called Mighty Poplar, which is a bluegrass band. I haven't had a chance to hear this yet. It just came in last night on Amazon, so I'm going to be playing it today, but there's Noam Pakilny there, and Chris Eldridge sitting out front with the guitar. These guys are great musicians, so I'm expecting this to be a great album. Mighty Poplar. Okay, last but not least, new releases. And I've listened to them both once, so a very rough opinion here. I may have more to say after I get a few listens in. Paul Simon's new album, 7 Psalms. If I have a complaint about this album, it's only 33 minutes long. The time passed so fast. I went, is that over already? Really liked it on the first listen. It's very sparse. Even lyrically, it's very succinct. It's like, each line is like 2 words or 3 words or something. Very spiritual. Very Simon & Garfunkel-ish in terms of instrumentation. It's a lot of just acoustic guitar and like I said, very sparse, but so far, so good, man. First listen, very impressed. Very impressed. Like I said, the only complaint is the length. It should be more. The new Yes album. My buddy Scott at the Prog Corner has been pumping this album up. He likes it, which is good enough for me. Mirror to the Sky. Yes, brand new album. This is a double CD version, so you get the album plus you get a bonus disc. I listened to this once straight through. Now I'm going to say the first 3 songs I thought Uh, I enjoyed them, but nothing where I was excited. I just thought, okay. Then the fourth song starts. It's called Living Out Their Dream, and I thought, man, it's getting interesting. And then the title song, Mirror to the Sky, almost 12 minutes, almost 14 minutes long, I believe. It's so good. Like, great song. Absolutely loved it. Um, that really excited me. So I'm really happy about this album. Now, what do you think about Yes? I know my buddy Larry, he won't touch it because John Anderson's not there, and the faux John Anderson, this John Davidson guy, is there, and he sounds like John Anderson, and the only person really is there is Steve Howe. But when you think about it, I mean, we've got Steve Howe. Jeff Downs is a great musician. Billy Sherwood's a monster. Steve Howe. I mean, you got at least Jay Shellen. I don't know too much about his past resume. And John Davidson, like I said, is just a kind of a carbon copy of a faux John Anderson. But you know, these guys are good enough musicians that they can make a good album, and I think they did make a good album. And I think if you don't if this band was called Glenn Kellaway and the Basements and you heard it, you'd think it was a pretty good friggin' record, but because it says Yes on the cover and you think about Close to the Edge and Tales from Topographic Oceans and all that, you kind of are disappointed. But I think it's a really good album. Standing alone as a new version of Yes, I am very impressed with this album so far. Give it a listen, especially the title track. Let me know what you think. That's everything I got. I'm pretty excited today. The rest of the day is devoted to listening to all my new records and CDs. So everyone have a great weekend. It's a long weekend here in Canada, so to all my Canadian friends, happy 2-4 weekend, and we'll talk soon.